Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. How are y'all doing?
Peachy.
Got 2 thumbs up and a peach. That's pretty darn good.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
On a
Well, it
radio
is early. It is early. It's only 10.
That's true. So Scott, nice little profile.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that was a kind of a surprise. They usually highlight one member every month, and my number came up. So
There you go. So you got to warn us when you get that black belt. So
well, it's funny. I actually studied martial arts in the early to mid 90s and attained my green belt and was 2 weeks away from testing for my first level brown. We had 2 brown before you go to black, and I had to drop out due to some family issues we had at the time. And it's one of those bucket list. One of these days, I'm going to get back in and do it. So just
Yeah.
not quite there yet, I guess.
well, your time may have a few constraints on it right now. I'm not sure.
It does, and 6 grandkids and a 7th on the way. Life is good. There's a lot of other things going on, so that may be a retirement thing for me if my health holds out. So
There you go. There you go. I'm not sure I'm going to be quite as ambitious in retirement as seeking a black belt. Oh,
Sorry about that.
hi, Gina.
Good afternoon.
I did get your proxy. Thank you.
It must be. He's haunting me.
glad to have you, Gina.
Thank you.
Have we heard from the judge this morning?
I've not heard a peep. Want me to text him?
Well, I mean, we're only a couple of minutes late, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'll text him real quick. I've sent it. We could always, got a quorum, you could always start with the easy stuff.
we technically have a quorum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then why don't we, well, if we come up to anything that's fairly policy oriented, we could hold for the judge. But Scott, why don't we go ahead and call our meeting to order? And Jessica, would you please let the minutes reflect that Gina is here as proxy for Mr. Parker? And we have a copy of the minutes from our last regularly scheduled meeting. Thanks,
Mayor, there was one anomaly here, number 12. There was no motion to adjourn made.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes we do that.
So I'm not sure what the procedure is there, but clearly we did adjourn. So.
We did adjourn. I think Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. I think current Robert's Rules of Orders indicate that you can have a motion to adjourn, and if the agenda is complete, you don't need a second and a.
Yeah, if you reach the end of your agenda and you leave, the meeting is over. You have been deigned to have adjourned, is my.
There's a certain practical element to that decision.
Yeah.
Okay. With that noted, is there a motion for approval of the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Gina, and I will second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Great. The minutes are approved. Scott, looks like you have item 4 on our agenda, an update on some regulations.
Yes, so just a verbal update here. We are still in the 30-day public comment period. The Kentucky Society of CPAs and some known practitioners, through a lot of them through our system, and the ones we know here in town. We have a lot of, we track them through FileMaker, our tax software, when we have put them in the past. So they have had that since June 1st, and the comment period ends June 30th, at which point we will analyze any comments and recommend any potential adjustments to the regs based on those comments, probably in July or August.
Good. Are you seeing any meaningful or thoughtful comments come in that might improve your product, Scott?
Jessica, would you like to take that one? You've been fielding most of these.
I haven't received any comment yet.
Oh, I thought we had seen. Okay.
No, I haven't, unless someone else has gotten them. I haven't gotten anything. I got several saying, thanks, received it, will send my comments, but I haven't actually gotten any
Oh.
commentary yet.
Yeah, you got some recognition that they did receive it. That's what I was.
Correct. And that was from the local practitioners.
Well, you know, their suggestions can be helpful, but
Mhm.
your process is absolutely helpful in trying to engage them. So good job. Look forward to hearing if you get comments and if they're helpful.
As do we.
Yes, sir. Number 5 looks like just an update, Scott.
Yes, another verbal update, the Lockbox RFP. Of the 3 people of the 3 entities that bid on it, we want to call 2 in for demos. So we're in the process of trying to schedule that with them. We're looking at August to get them all set up. We're trying to coordinate not only our schedules and their schedules, but also our 2 managed service providers, one being Sopicity DC3 for the IT part of it. And of course, the most important part is DB Services, which they are our FileMaker database developers, and making sure that the information gets into FileMaker electronically from the Lockbox folks. So that's going to be key. So it's just a logistical thing at this point. It gives them plenty of time if we do it in August to try to get this all worked out and then get them scheduled.
Yeah, it's and it really sounds like, Scott, at this point, it's a very technical process that you all and your IT vendors are what the board's of little help to you here, other than to hear your final recommendations, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Mayor. And the technical aspect of it is key at this point. I mean, lock boxes are nothing new. As we mentioned before, Louisville and Lexington are using them very successfully. And the vendor that they both use is one of the vendors that will be calling in for demo. So it's not their first rodeo, so to speak. So it really is just, will that particular vendor's technology play nice with our technology in terms of FileMaker? Not only that, to get the information in there correctly, but also from the VC3 standpoint, make sure we have proper safeguards in place to protect that confidential taxpayer information. But again, that's nothing new to them, since they're already doing it. And yes, once we have the demos, at some point we'll be coming to you and we'll have a better idea what the cost of all this is going to be, which is going to be the really the linchpin on this whole process.
And you all have such a good understanding of the kind of reports you want. I'm sure they've got a standard menu of reports, but we probably understand our needs well enough to make very specific data requests and reporting requests.
Absolutely. And we've been working with our database developer now for what, 2 years, Jessica? Year and a half, 2 years. So, it's not just us, it's us and our database developer have a very good understanding. And I have quite a laundry list of my own reports that I would like to see that, I have never been able to quite get out of FileMaker. So very, very excited for the demos to start and see what the future might look like for us moving forward.
Good. Jana, any questions about that?
Nope, it looks good. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, Scott. Looks like we have a penalty and interest abatement request.
Actually, plural. We have 2 this month.
We have one for approval and one for suggested denial of it.
Right. One is a denial and one is an approval. We'll start with the denial first. This particular taxpayer is requesting $75, $25 per jurisdiction for the tax year 2020. This particular taxpayer checked the unavoidable absence section of the request, but included a narrative that made no mention of an actual unavoidable absence. Instead, He stated that he had very little income, and he further stated that he had no income in Georgetown or Scott County, and that he didn't realize he had to file a return. But the reality is this taxpayer has been registered and filing with us since 2012, so for a decade. So that doesn't ring true. So our policy clearly states that the burden's on the persons or entities engaged in an activity to do their due diligence, fully understanding and comply with all federal, state, and local tax filing obligations. And therefore, it is our request that we deny that request.
I
Any
think
questions? Any questions on that?
should we, do you need board, since this is a denial, do you need a board action to deny or only a board action to approve?
No, I believe that's pretty much just informational, let you know we've denied that and why, so you have eyes on it. We will need board approval, board motion for approval of the second one here. So,
Okay, please go ahead.
this taxpayer is requesting an abatement of $375 in late filing penalties that cover the years 2016 through 2020. This taxpayer also checked the unavoidable absence section, but this time it was correct. They stated that the rental property in question was purchased and owned by her husband prior to their marriage. And the taxpayer further states that after they were married, her husband solely handled all of the matters to do with those properties, financial and otherwise. The taxpayer states that her husband passed away May 17th of last year, and it is our recommendation that we approve this request in full, as the taxpayer has established reasonable cause due to death or serious illness.
Good, thank you. And welcome, Michelle.
And welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We're
And-
right.
and I didn't mention it's 375, which is 125 per jurisdiction. I'm sorry, I failed to mention that.
All right, thank you. Michelle, we started the routine parts of the agenda, and this is a penalty and interest abatement request.
Okay.
Staff has recommended declining the first request, and board took no action. We agree with that
Yes, I agree.
decline. And we're in the process of just hearing the second one and ready for a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve Scott's recommendation to approve the abatement.
Thank you, Jan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michelle. Perfect timing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Perfect. So for one that actually involved money, Scott, we had a full quorum of directors.
Excellent.
Commissioners.
Thank
And
you all.
and also for your general discussion. I know there's a lot to cover.
Yes. So the first bullet point here for this meeting, there were no KEDFA or BSSC reports approved, no projects approved for Scott County in May. We do, as I mentioned last month, we have restarted the financial inducements for our employer here. So for the month of April, we've started reissuing these reimbursement payments, and the Scott County United portion as well went out actually today with the Toyota payment. So nothing new there. We did want to have a discussion. We had quite a bit of a discussion in the pre-commissioners meeting last week. Jessica, do you want to touch base on some items we discussed about the minute?
Yeah, I will, and then I think Andrew might have something to add. But the issue came up because now that as long as we are doing the meetings via Zoom, they are being recorded, and then our administrative assistant Pam is using that recording to do the minutes. So she's actually composing the minutes now, sort of as an administrative task, so that I don't have to go and rewatch the meeting and all of that. So that brought up the discussion of, in accordance with Kentucky law, the minutes have to be signed by the official custodian for those minutes, which in the past I was signing them because once I came on board, I wanted to make sure all of our minutes were up to par with what we had to do. So Andrew and I talked about that. We added all the necessary information and I was signing those. But then Andrew and I began a conversation because technically I'm not the secretary of the board. Technically, the way that things are structured, that would be the superintendent right now. And so Andrew and I began discussing the practicality of who should sign the minutes and what the process would look like if we should just begin adding those with the check runs that have to be signed. And so they can be signed by an official board member. And so Andrew, I don't know if you want to talk about the secretary role a little bit with regards to the board.
We talked about how, traditionally in a board or a council setting, it's impractical that a board member is actually doing minutes these days. So they would typically assign something like that to staff, but ultimately they do need to sign those things. So I think it would be appropriate for the board to assign the administrative role of preparing the minutes to someone, and then we can digitally prepare the minutes for the secretary's signature, just like the mayor, we prepare it for the board chair's signature. So we just do 2 slots. And now that we have our Adobe digital signature process, I think that's a whole lot easier. But technically, Jessica is correct. Having Jessica sign the minutes as a staff member is not compliant.
That's a good catch, and I think we should change the process. My question, Andrew, at the city level, I don't even sign the minutes until they're approved by the governing body.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And
You take the minutes, and then the clerk prepares the minutes and signs them as accurate, and then the council approves them, and then you sign. It would be the same process here.
same
but
process. So the
Yeah,
board
the
would still,
secretary would essentially attest to the minutes as accurate from the notes, and then you get it approved, then the chair signs it.
that's very clean. I mean, it's a little extra work for staff, but since that can be transmitted electronically, it shouldn't be much of a burden for the secretary to do.
I don't think Billy will have a problem with that.
So so in the future, like for this meeting, moving forward, we will send the minutes that will say prepared by, and it will have Pam's information, and then it will be for electronic signature once they're approved after the meeting. So that will start next month. Is that correct, Andrew? Okay. Just a little something to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be that will change for next month. So.
Okay.
It's a minor detail, but I guess details matter.
Well, when
I'm sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
we just deal with such large sums of money, we need to dot every I and cross every T.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And it
And
wasn't until review, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, this all came to light because Scott had given me a lot of older documents that he had retained from the prior director. And in those, I found the original sort of incorporation and bylaws of the commissioners, and it set forth who was secretary. And that made me start saying, okay, well, that's not the person that's taking the minutes. That's an actual board member. So anyway, that's what kind of snowballed into this conversation. And then I wanted to make sure that our processes were correct to reflect everything that they need to. So that's good. We'll be all on the same page, and starting next month, there'll just be one additional step for everybody.
Good. And Michelle, I'm pretty sure that's the way you all are doing the court's business as well.
That's correct.
so Andrew, since this is just a discussion item under requires no board action, do we have to formalize this at the next meeting because it's not on the regular agenda, or can we just move forward with this after the discussion?
Well, I've got it as a regular call meeting, so if you want it, the only thing that I would have the board do if they did anything would be to verify that they're assigning that duty administratively to Jessica, and then to start doing that moving forward as a practice.
So next month, when they're approving the minutes, can we just have that as an action? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Much cleaner. Thank you. Go ahead, Scott.
All right, the next item is the firework tents. We've all seen those around town. Currently, Frank has a count of 7 on those. So we're currently, I believe they've all got their vendor licenses going on those. So that's usually not a heavy lift for us, but we always keep an eye on it. Work from home refund impact. I will have an update next month. I can tell you verbally, we didn't have very many additional work from home refunds in May. In fact, just 2 or 3, I believe. And currently, I think we have 4 or 5 for June. So what I will have is a full fiscal year of data to show you what the impact of the refunds that we issued, what portion of it was actually people working from home. So we got a sense of how that's impacting us here in the post-COVID world. The monthly tax collection stats you can see below for May. As you can see, it was a big month, which we anticipated because we had two of our largest employers' payrolls come in May. So we're up 2.5 million over the prior year, or almost 75% for May. Cities up 1.2 million, counties up almost 2 million, and the school board was up $123,000. So again, quite a big month. I sent this out with the packets. I plugged in the May information this year versus last year with the over under. And of course, I did that for all three jurisdictions as well. And then that all rolled up into where we are currently for the fourth quarter, which is up almost 2.9 million from the same quarter last year. And for the fiscal year, we're up almost 3.9 million. You can see the city's up 1.709, county 1.783, and the school board's up almost $384,000 over the same period last year. So we've had to talk at the last couple meetings. We need to finish strong. It looks like we're going to finish strong. And I can tell you verbally, the distribution checks that are going out today, as of June 1 through June 16 of this year, compared to the same June 1 to June 16 last year, we are currently up for the first half of June, $374,000 on top of the almost $3.9 million. So this fiscal year is looking like we are going to finish very strong. And that is, of course, the reminder there is that last year was the record-breaking year. We exceeded $45 million in collection, which was the highest collection year ever, and we're on track to break that record.
Very robust, Scott. Is it, were we too conservative in our estimates? Do we just, are we
Well,
just a little hotter than we thought we'd be?
Yeah, Q2 was pretty scary. Down almost $1 million in one quarter, but we, after being up 1.2 in the first quarter, but the third and fourth quarters have just come roaring back. So, and probably either in July or August, I'll have a deeper analysis for you on how much of that's payroll, how much of that's net profit, how much of it's penalty and interest, and broken out by jurisdiction as well. So I'll have a little deeper dive into these numbers. These are just, aggregate collections numbers. When we send you the daily email, okay, here's how much we put in the bank. This is what these numbers reflect. This is the money we put in the bank every single day, or credit card or e-check payments that come in that are also deposited as well. So this is a reflection of aggregate collections by the Revenue Commission, broken out by city, county, and school. So it's pretty astounding. That's a big number.
Revenues that we get, what's the percentage occupational to net profits?
I don't have that right now. That's what I said. And once the fiscal year is over, I'll give you a percentage. Usually it's in the 85% of the total revenue we collect. 85 to 88% is payroll, and the other 12 to 15% is net profit. That's just a down and dirty, every single year. That's the range we're kind of in.
I worry because of COVID, kind of being a year delayed. This last year of COVID, we won't feel till the net profits of next year. I just wondered how much of our total income was net profit versus occupational, but that's it.
Well, we did have a strong net profit in April and May, that's for sure. But you're right, that's the April, that is the 2021 tax year. I worry about moving forward, what we're going to see in our current economic climate, and the fact that we've already had one quarter of negative economic growth, and in about a week or so, that quarter is the second quarter is going to end, and all eyes are going to be on that to see if we have a second consecutive quarter of negative growth. So, I guess to answer your question, Mayor, perhaps we did. We were a little bit too conservative. But I'm concerned about what the next fiscal year is going to bring.
And we must be conservative in these projections. And we also learned that one quarter can be a real anomaly.
Yes.
And we can't bet the ranch or lose our minds because of a good quarter or a bad quarter.
Yeah, and we can't ignore it either.
We
So
can't ignore it,
because
especially if we string them together.
yeah. Yeah. So I would, if I'm going to be wrong, I'd rather be wrong like we're wrong right now.
I have to agree 100%. And we've got two finance directors on the call with us. So I'm pretty sure they're going to agree with that mentality as well.
Yes.
We get any pushback from Michelle and Gina on that?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, I thought not. Okay, good analysis, Scott. I'm not going to make sure that I share this with Stacy as well.
Okay. And then the last thing on the general discussion is the new accounts and closed accounts. As of the first 5 months, we have 525 new accounts registered with us. That's an average of 105 for the first 5 months every month. And of course, we've got an abnormally high number as we've talked the last few months. You know, Jessica's cleanup project is skewing that a little bit. We are currently running 98 closed also for the first 5 months compared to where we were last year. Looks like we're about 34 new accounts lower than we were this same time last year. And of course, we're way over with the closed accounts we had this year. But if you look at May, the May numbers 98 and 52, those 52 closed are coming back down into the normal range for that month. And then, you know, just for reference here, I added the May new and closed as well for 2021 to give you some reference. But still averaging over 100 new accounts registering with us every single month.
And I'll just add, you know, I think we're on the tail end of this cleanup as everything has gotten 3 notices. They've gone through our entire due process. So those numbers should start to wane out because I sent out the last batch of those notices in early May. So, you know, I've gotten a lot of resolutions, so we shouldn't see these large numbers. I'm hoping after July should be our last number where it's abnormal. But I'll also just say that none of these were revenue producing or active accounts that have been closed. So these aren't just businesses that are leaving. These are just literally accounts that had to be maintained. And the good news is that all of the accounts that we currently have with our analysts are all open, active accounts that we should be managing. So it's really streamlined a lot of what we're doing, saved us a ton of space, and all around has been great. But it does make the numbers really skewed. But don't be alarmed. They're not. These were accounts that should have been closed a long time ago.
Good, thank you.
Well, that's all I have for the general discussion, unless anyone else has anything.
Michelle, anything for the good of the order today?
Not that I'm aware of.
Gina, are you good shape?
I'm in good shape. Thank you.
All right. Looks like our next meeting is in July, on July 27th. And we've been doing this by Zoom just because it's very simple and easy to do. And it's just 3 commissioners, and the type of documents we evaluate, being able to share screen, it lends itself well to Zoom. Are you all comfortable with this format, or would you like to start getting together again? Scott,
The
have you all
way
had
is
anything?
fine with me. I mean, they both work.
Zoom works well with our schedules.
Yeah. So if you all don't, Scott and Jessica, if you all don't think we're lacking anything by continuing with the Zoom format, there do seem to be some benefits.
Yeah, I mean, I think the travel time for everybody else, I mean, you know, obviously, most of you have been here. We have a lovely conference room, 8 chairs, no waiting. But I don't see any advantage to doing it other than to be able to be in the same room together and shake hands. And, you know, that's nice. But I mean, it also, with our tight schedules, it allows us to, you know, eliminate travel time, which is the main thing. I mean, you just, you know, click on the link and you're in the meeting.
Yeah. Let's Michelle and Gina, unless the judge and Billy have strong feelings, we'll just keep meeting by Zoom.
Okay.
All right.
I think that worked best.
All right. Well, what we need at this point is a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion. I'll second her. I'll second her.
There's a motion and a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you.